Alright, what's up guys? Finally got the 3.1.0 Splatoon 3 mid-season patch for this current season. I actually have not even looked at this, so this is going to be like my first time actually looking at this. I just didn't even have time to look at it. I didn't even know it was going to be going live. Was it tomorrow? I think it's going live or whatever. And I didn't know the patch notes were actually going to be going live now, so I don't want to take too long to do this because there is a lot to talk about, and everybody is saying there's some crazy changes on here. So we're about to find out both at the same time what the crazy changes are. So if you're new, subscribe, like the video, share the video, and get right into this. I also do stream Splatoon 3 and a bunch of other stuff over here on the channel. I'll probably be streaming Paladins over here on YouTube tomorrow night. So if you guys want to drop by for that, feel free to drop by. Especially if you are new, love to see the streams. Got some changes to Splatfest. Not going to be too much on screen. I'm kind of doing like the patch notes and reading the notes on screen. So if you guys want to tab out, listen to me talk, or if you guys want to go through the patch notes yourself while I go along with them. Changes to Splatfest. The only thing they seem to change is the sneak peek, and the percentage of votes is less now. So, and then the tricolor battle is worth more. Does this overall change anything about like Splatfest? No, it doesn't. They still mean absolutely nothing. I don't even care about Splatfest. Like, the only thing I use Splatfest for is, like, farm the gacha machine. And, like, that's the main thing now. And then farm gear from the Splatfest shirt. Like, apart from that, like, I get to the highest rank, and then it is quit playing for the entire weekend. And sometimes I'm actually mad because I actually want to play ranked, and there's a Splatfest going on. Like, that's just how meaningless it actually is. Maybe they should make Splatfest actually mean more at first, before changing the numbers. Got some changes to some weapons. Here's the meat and potatoes. This is actually going to be pretty interesting. Splattershot Nova. Movement speed while firing is 10% faster. Ink splatter will now fall around... They actually have some huge buffs. Huge buffs for the Splattershot Nova. You're going to be able to move 10% faster while firing, and then you ink your feet a lot easier. Which may not actually seem like much of a buff, but being able to ink for yourself, first and foremost, is actually huge. Luna Blaster, this is interesting, because one of my most played weapons. Increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 70 damage by about 50%. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 50 to 0% damage. So there's going to be a bigger area to where you can actually do half of your damage. Or 70 damage, which is pretty good. I don't know how much that's really going to matter. Maybe it'll matter in like a 2-shot, or like with people that are kind of, I wouldn't say out of range, but like still kind of within your range. You can kind of graze them and barely get the damage off on them now, a lot easier. But even then, you still one-shot. So if you can go up to somebody in their face, you're better off just one-shotting them. I don't know if it's going to really matter much. And this is coming from somebody that plays a shit ton of Luna Blaster as well. Like, I don't know how that's going to really matter. The one thing the Luna Blaster needs is a painting buff, because its paint is really bad. Big Swig Roller adjusted the damage fall off based on the vertical swing distance, making the amount of damage fall off more gradual. So there's less damage fall off at longer ranges. Due to this change, the distance where 100 damage can be dealt was extended, so you can deal more damage at longer ranges with the Big Swig Roller. Who cares? Nobody's still going to be playing this weapon. It's still really bad. Snipe Rider 5H. Maximum damage has been increased to 68. So no longer, how much you need? 2-shot? It's a 2-shot on most people. I mean, I don't know what this really would actually do numbers-wise. Maybe versus, like, objects, like Crab and a few other things. But, like, it's still a 2-shot to kill somebody normally, so I don't know what that damage numbers really do. If you guys know what's 60 to 68, what kind of like breakpoints that would actually influence and change, let me know in the comments down below, because I have no idea. The one thing the Snipe Rider actually needs is the ability to actually carry charges under ink while you're moving, and an entire new kit, because its kit's really bad. I think until then it's going to be garbage. Slosher and Slosher Deco adjusted the damage fall-off rate when a player attacks someone vertically lower than them, making it more difficult for the damage to decrease. The minimum amount of damage dealt to an opponent will be 50. I'm not sure what that is. That like a buff to the damage if you're like on high ground trying to hit somebody on the lower ground, or I don't know what that really means. That's kind of confusing. I think that's a buff. Mini and Zinc Splatling increase firing duration by roughly 17%. Okay buff, but these weapons are still not going to be played over a lot of other stuff. Dapples and Dapples Nonival shorten the amount of time it takes for a player to be able to act after a dodge roll by 0.6 of a second. So you're able to do more after dodge rolling now, and you have less delay after dodge rolling by 0.6 of a second, which is not much. I don't think that's going to do anything for the Dapples, unfortunately. Splat Dualies increase the dodge roll movement speed, shortening the amount of time it takes to move by roughly 0.6 of a second, so pretty much the same buff. But instead of actually like the lockout time after rolling, they just increase the speed of the roll, so you move around faster. I still don't think that's going to do anything for the Dualies, Splat Dualies. And the only reason the Splat Dualies are played at least a little bit is because Crab Tank is so good, at least right now. Apart from that, they're not played at all. Reflux 450 made the angle of diffusion narrower depending on amount of charge, making it easier to focus on attacking a single area. Movement speed while charging is 10% faster. So it's easier to line up a shot depending on the amount of charge you have, I guess. I don't see the thing being played at all. And the only reason it does get played is because it has 10 missiles, and there's not many 10 missile weapons. Sub-weapons. Angle Shooter. Roughly double the radius of ink splatter that occurs when it hits terrain. Wow, one of the worst subs in the game, and they make it paint a little bit better. That does nothing for the sub. It's still going to be the worst sub in the entire game. Burst Bomb. Increase the amount of ink consumed from a standard ink tank from 40 to 45% if the player does not have Ink Saver sub. The amount of ink consumed when the max number of abilities are equipped will not change. So they're making it take more ink if you do not run Ink Saver sub with builds or like weapons that have Burst Bomb. I still think that Burst Bomb, I don't think that really the Burst Bomb needs any nerfs. I think right now the weapons that the Burst Bomb is on need to be nerfed. I think that's the main problem. I don't think the sub needs to be nerfed at all. Kind of bad. And I think they actually nerfed it a couple patches back as well, with some delay time. Special weapons. Oh man, here we go. Will they fix the game? What moment of truth, everybody. Ink Vac. Increase the radius of the outer perimeter when vacuuming up ink by 10% to cover a larger area. So you have a bigger AoE when you're trying to suck up people's ink and that type of thing. Or like block damage in an area when people are shooting at you. Whatever. I still don't see it being that good. Tacticooler. Increase the initial setup when throwing the Tacticooler by roughly 33% to enable it to be set up farther than before. Roughly double the horizontal radius of the area where players can drink a beverage. That's actually some huge buffs. Here are some of the biggest buffs, apart from like the Splatter Shot or the Splatter Shot Nova. I think this here is like the second best buff for the entire patch right here. This is huge. Being able to throw it farther and having it set up 33% faster, and then being able to not really even be close to the Tacticooler to be able to pick up a drink. They made it so that the area is way bigger, so you don't really have to be like super right by it to actually pick up a drink. You can kind of fight in the AoE around it. That's huge. One good special change, y'all. One good special change. See how many we can actually get here. Reef Slider. Increase the amount of damage dealt from 60 to 70 when getting caught in an explosion at long range. Increase the radius of that area by roughly 17%. Increase the radius of ink splatter. So they buff the explosion and how much ink you do with the explosion of Reef Slider, and then they increase the outermost radius of the explosion to where like you do the least amount of damage, and they buff that damage slightly. L. Huge L. Reef Slider, still probably one of the worst specials in the entire game. Garbage. Inkjet, one of my favorite specials. Same with Ultra Stamp. Let's see what they actually do. Increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 50 damage by roughly 43%. Okay, not bad. Not a bad buff. No changes to the radius of the area that deals 30 damage. Strengthen the jet of ink that comes out when pressing B, enabling players to jump higher than before. Round of applause. Round of applause, everybody. It took them 6 fucking months to finally balance inkjet in some of these specials to where they actually get balanced with stuff that actually matters. This is huge. These are huge changes. Being able to have 40% more, 43% more AoE to where you can actually do 50 damage, so you don't have to actually land a direct on somebody. You can make it a 2-hit KO in a bigger area. That's huge. And then being able to have more mobility is crazy good. Not really what I would have did personally. Like, I would have did some different things, but I'm not going to complain because these are still pretty solid buffs. Finally. 6 months, y'all. 6 months it took them to finally give us some good special balancing, or at least some, like some somewhat good amount. I'm not even done here yet. Ultra Stamp. Here's another one that needs major buffs. Increase the radius of the area where a player can be damaged from the shockwaves of continuous stamp attacks by roughly 43%. Improve the turning performance when doing continuous stamping attacks, making it easier to change directions. When doing continuous stamp attacks, the stamp will now be displayed as translucent on the user's screen, making it easier for them to see where they're going. Yeah, this does not fix any of the issues Ultra Stamp has. Still the worst special in the entire game apart from Reef Slider and a few others. You know, we have a couple huge W's with some of these changes, and like a bunch of these are just awful. And they just make you go and like scratch your head, like, why is this even here? Especially when the problem and the solution to the issues is just so blatant, and like it's just like right there, and they just never actually do anything. It's so easy to solve, and they just do everything else apart from what they're supposed to do to fix stuff. It's just so frustrating, especially as a player seeing this shit. The one thing Ultra Stamp needs: why do I get killed when I'm stamping towards somebody from the front? Why don't I have damage immunity from the front when I'm actually stamping and using my special? I don't know. It goes against the entirety of the weapon, but it's somehow still possible. I don't understand. It's so stupid. Until they do that and they give damage immunity to the Ultra Stamp, at least from the front, where you can actually, like, when you're stamping towards somebody, it'll still be one of the worst specials in the entire game. Garbage. Huge, massive L. You should be ashamed, Nintendo. Crab Tank. Here's another one that we really need to get our shit together on. Introduced an interval where players cannot attack for roughly 0.33 seconds after returning to attack mode from the mobile mode. Oh my gosh, they finally gave us a delay between firing stances. Increase the amount of time it takes for a player to act again after the special ends. Wow. Finally, some meaningful nerfs to Crab Tank. It took them 6 months, everybody. 6 months from one of the most over-centralizing specials in the entire game to finally be nerfed and be hit with some meaningful nerfs that'll actually nerf it and make it worse than it was. These are some huge nerfs, finally. Well deserved, though. Absolutely sick and tired of seeing Crab Tank being played and having the Crab Tank weapons like Splash and those type of things just dominate the game. Time to move on to something new, please, because the game is so boring right now. Please, anything. Kraken Royal made it easier for players to be pushed back by an enemy attack and tower control when the player is on the tower. Made it so player will drop their clams and power clams whenever they use this special in Clam Blitz. So they made it so you can no longer super jump to a Kraken sitting under your Clam Blast basket in Clam Blitz, and then you can no longer solo a tower by yourself as easy. I mean, I still think the special's still busted, but just not in those 2 modes anymore. They nerfed it for 2 modes, but they changed nothing else about the special. It's still pretty much I don't die and I can do whatever I want for a certain duration type button. Still incredibly busted. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Another huge L. They didn't do enough. They tried. They get an F plus for effort. I'll give them an F plus. They tried, but they missed big time. Here, sub resistance, damage to burst bombs and fizzy bombs will be reduced more than before, even with just a few gear abilities. My question is here, why the nerf to the fizzy bombs? Fizzy bomb isn't even that good. It's great for painting, but its damage is bad. It's not that good, and if you want to land the max damage on it, you gotta be going against a team of brain-dead losers that'll just stand in one spot and take all the damage from a fizzy bomb. I don't know why a fizzy bomb. Why can't it just be a burst bomb? Why does fizzy bomb have to be added to the nerfs for people running sub resistance up? I don't know. Good thing it's not really that popular of a gear ability. Otherwise, it'd be more of an issue. Opening Gambit. If a player splats or assists in splatting an enemy while this gear ability is in effect, the effect will now be extended by roughly 15 seconds instead of 7.5. Made it so that the Intensify Action gear ability will also occur when this ability effect is in effect. The equivalent is equivalent to 3.0 primary gear abilities. I mean, does anybody even run Opening Gambit anyways? Like, does anybody actually run that anymore? Apart from, like, Turf War. I know some people that actually run that in Turf War, like, for competitive, like, Turf War tournaments. But, like, does anybody actually even run that in, like, pro play or, like, even, like, in ranked games? Like, in seriously? I don't know. Unless you're being, like, trying to run, like, some cheesy type shit, and I don't know. I don't see anybody using Opening Gambit. I still don't see anybody using it probably after this. It's cool. It's a great change, but still, I don't see anybody using it, and I don't think that anybody will. Points for special. This is all we have. This is all we have for points for... There's no Splash-O-Matic. There's no Sloshing Machine. There's nothing here. There's no E-Leader. Is it? There's none of the, like, the more garbage weapons. Clash Blaster, Neo. Or the Cherry Clash Blaster, where's that at? Like, where are some of the garbage weapons? The Bamboozler, Splat, the Sploosh. Yeah. You know, I don't want to shit on the entire balance because there are a number of really solid changes here, but, like, it is so frustrating being 6 months into the game now with Splatoon 3 being here for 6 months, and we're first now getting some changes that we should have had, like, legit, like, 5 months ago, and we're first now getting them, and we still don't have changes that they're still missing out and they just refuse to do. Where are the special changes for stuff like the Sloshing Machine and the Splash-O-Matic? The nerfs to Crab Tank still ain't enough for that weapon. It'll still be incredibly good, especially with the burst bomb nerfs and all that. You gotta nerf the weapon into the ground. You cannot let it keep on being played. You gotta be forceful and actually shake shit up, because otherwise people will just get bored, and that's exactly what's happening. Another reason is the lack of weapons, which I think is another huge contribution to it. Everybody's being bored with the game right now. There's barely any weapons, and we just never get any, apart from, like, new seasons, and even then it's only like 10 weapons. Half of them of which are garbage, and then you have, like, maybe 2 or 3 that are actually good, and the rest are just afterthoughts that get forgot about after a week or two. Changes to Salmon Run. I'm not going to read any of this because we'll be sitting here for 10 years. A bunch of bug fixes. If there's anything in the bug fixes or fixes in multiplayer that I should know of that I'm not going over and talking about, let me know in the comments down below. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else that's even here. This is 3.0. I think that's pretty much it, y'all. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. Overall, I will admit, but there are some really solid changes here. Like, there really is. There's some really solid changes. A number of them. But overall, I'm going to have to give them probably a D+ for effort. I think that's what this entire, like, mini, like, mid-season balance patch is. A number of really solid balance changes, But overall, another huge failure. Some good crab tank nerfs, inkjet nerf buffs was great. Like, there's a few weapon changes that are really solid, but apart from that, there's not nearly enough here, and there's nothing that's really changed. Where are some of the weapons that are just never played, and where are some of the weapons that are just garbage? Where are the Gloogadoolies? Where's the Bamboozler? Where's the GooTuber? Where's all the shit that just never gets played, or the stuff that's just god-awful that needs buffs and just never gets any? Where are the Brellas? Where is the undercover Brella? Where's the tent Brella? Where's the splat Brella? Where are all the Brellas at? There's no buffs for any of the Brellas, or even like, I don't know if there's any bug fixes. I have to go through and look all those. I don't want to do that, but is there any bug fixes? I don't know. Let me know if you guys see any bug fixes for the Brellas in the comments down below, but I'm assuming there's probably barely any, if not any at all, because we never got any for the season launch, really, for this current season. We got a few, but not really enough. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We'll just have to see how it goes in game. I don't know, maybe that I'm just being too harsh on it, but at least from what's on paper, I gotta go by what's off paper because I haven't played the game yet and I haven't played on this patch. Not looking too good, apart from a few minor little things. Apart from that, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace out, everybody.